Hi, this is Group 6's README file. First, we have a link to our final project. Over here, we're at the dashboard, and we can see our task progress. We can see our projects. These are some projects we already created. And over here, you could create a new project. You can fill in these fields however you want. Over here, you can put a GitHub link if you have one, and then you can say whether the project is current or completed. We'll say current, save, and then you can see that here. And then we can also delete a project and delete another one. And in this section, you can see your daily streak, which basically just tells you how many days you've consecutively come to the website. And over here, you can see the daily log page. You can fill in these however you like, just to log whatever you did for the day, and then you could save that entry. You can go here and create another one and save that as well. And when you go back to the other day, you can see all these fields are saved, all these are saved, and then you can delete an entry, and then you can also click delete all entries to get rid of everything. And then finally, we can look at the to-do list page. So as of now, we have no tasks, so we can create a task, put in a day, and we can say what project this task is for, then add the task. And then you can see when there's no task completed, the otter is sad with no fish. And then if you check off a task, or if you complete all of your tasks, the otter is happy. And then we can create another task. And then when you check off like one, it will show like your progress. So we've done 50%, so the progress goes up like halfway. And then you can also edit a task. And if you go down, you can see, because I clicked edit on this task, all the fields come up, and I can just change the values. And then you can see that is updated now, and then you can also delete a task directly on the task to just delete one, or you could delete all of them. And yeah, that's basically it for our final product. And then going back to the README page, we have our public video linked, and then over here we kind of just explained our brainstorming process, and we began kind of by creating some user personas, just on like the people we would imagine are using our product, and we kind of use these to like, cater our product to these users. And then over here, we kind of just mind mapped the possible features that we may include in our final product, and then we also did like a marker sketch to just kind of agree upon like what pages we want and what things we want to be on each page. These are some pictures, and then over here we created like a user flowchart, just kind of like get a good idea of how the user would use our product from start to finish, what they may do. And then over here we kind of just explained like our agile development process with like our weekly team meetings, which we took notes on. Those can all be found in the repo, and they're also linked here. We also explained how we conducted daily stand-ups, which we kind of did through Slack on a daily check-in channel where everyone would kind of explain what they did for the day and maybe like what they're planning to work on or wrap up. And then we also talked about our testing and how we use unit and end-to-end tests, and this is like a picture of our end-to-end test passing. And then we also explained like our documentation and how we maintain consistency in that throughout our code. Then here we explained how we made it our product offline as well using service workers, and just like an image of that. And yeah, that's basically it.
Hi, this is Team 6 repository. Then if you go into all of our files here, we have these files right here are for our CI/CD pipeline. And we have these tests, all of our end-to-end and unit tests. And this folder here, the code to unit test, also has like the functions that were imported to the unit tests. Then we have admin, and this one has a lot of folders. But first and foremost, here's our like team, kind of just an introduction to everyone, and then we have our branding. So there's an example. We have source, and this is our project. So we have all the HTML files, and then this is for making our project work offline as well. And then here, these two are just, as it says, pictures and icons. We also have all the JavaScript files and the CSS files located here. And then we have specs, and here we have, this is like from our brainstorming meeting. So for example, the user personas, this is from our pitch to the TA of our project. And then also we've kept all of our ADRs here. So this is an example. We kind of go through the problem statement, which options we considered, the pros and cons of those options, and then our decision and how we reached that decision. So that's how our ADRs are structured. And then we have this pull request template, which I'm going to reference later on as well. But this is basically the template. It asks for a summary, the type of change, how it's been tested, and you're expected to meet all these requirements as well. Here's an example issue that we have. So we include a description and an acceptance criteria, and then you have an assignment. It also has some labels, and it's part of this project here, and I'll just go to that. So you can move different like issues and pull requests depending on their status, but obviously now everything is done, thankfully. But yeah, and then you can link a pull request, and for each issue we've made a branch as well. And then here's the pull request for the issue, and so again we require a summary, describe the type of change and how it's been tested. And at this point, we hadn't done unit tests yet, so this was not checked off. But I do have the examples of the unit test here that prove that it was tested in that manner. And so you can see our CI/CD pipeline. So it has to pass a bunch of tests. We have ESLint, StyleLint, and HTMLint. for the linters. And then we also have the codicy tests, and you can see that we wait till everything has gone through to actually merge the branch to the main branch. But yeah, this is a quick overview of Team 6's repository. Thanks for watching.
Going into the agile process and practices for this project, there were definitely some adversities and challenges that we faced. We overcame quite a few of the challenges, which was overall a good learning experience for everyone. The main problem was trying to figure out like who should work on what part of the project. And while we were able to figure it out for the most part, some issues of unbalanced workload was present. Similarly, for coordinating work within subteams, trying to figure out what someone should do in their respective team was difficult. In our first sprint, this also led to unbalanced workloads. These challenges were actually reflected in our first retrospective. Here we can see that workload could be distributed more evenly. And we learned as a team and communicated much more and better delegated tasks, which is reflected in our second retrospective here. There's more communication and organization. Yeah, just in general, organizing a large team proved to be difficult. There are also some merge conflicts we faced. For example, when we first started working on website MVPs, there were conflicting files such as outdated pages versus their updated versions. And there were also conflicts with package.json files and dependencies. There were also some issues with the automation of our pipeline, but as shown earlier, we were able to get it working nicely. We also had some issues with daily check-ins with our first sprint, but as things kicked off, we made sure to do our best and stay consistent with the daily check-ins, as shown here. And also, our initial GitHub issues were a little bit too broad. For example, these encompassed way too much. And so as we moved forward, we broke down these issues and made more issues that were more specific and people could know or better know what they're working on. And our final issues were related to testing. One of them was us trying to do test-driven development, and another was to make our end-to-end and unit tests work since they had conflicting environments. And we did manage to make them work. For example, here, we separated them based on files and we run them a little bit differently.
Although we did face challenges that we were eventually able to overcome, we did also have victories throughout the creation of our project. One of these being in our user-centered design, where we implemented a user-centered kind of design approach to ensure that our website meets the needs and preferences of our user base. And this approach allowed us to create a more intuitive and kind of user-friendly interface, which is pretty simple, kind of direct and easy to use. Along with this, our website is fully responsive, providing optimal viewing experiences for all kinds of devices. For example, we can adjust it so that it would work on a mobile display, it would work on basically all types of displays in general. Along with this, achieving our story points was another major victory for us. We successfully hit everything that we were aiming for. For example, here's our Figma design. We were able to basically base our website off of this to overall come up with a final product that we all were pretty happy with. Along with this, we were also able to implement the offline functionality and accessibility. As you can see, I'm currently in the offline mode and our project still works as intended. We can still create, we can still go to different tabs as well. We can create new tasks if needed, and so on. Like so, still creates the task. Everything works normally even in offline accessibility mode. As for the other LEDs such as performance, our performance is slightly optimized in some situations for our website to be smooth and efficient in transferring between pages. Along with this, as for usability, our website is pretty simple. All the buttons kind of tell you what they're going to do. And for example, we also have this kind of background text to make sure that the user knows what to enter in that area, just to make it overall more simple to use. As for utility as well, our website offers kind of incentives to finish these tasks. For example, our progress bar at the top, where the more we finish our tasks, the closer we'll get to finishing the fish. At the very end, the otter is happy with the fish in the end. We also have things like our daily streak, which are implemented through our journal, and our task progress bar as well on the homepage.
For our conclusion, we wanted to go over the next steps in our project and how to build it from here, and what we would have built if we had more time than just a quarter. So first, we would have fully fleshed out an incentive system for the user to complete tasks. Our original idea was to have a pet reward system where every time the user completed a task, they were able to feed a pet and grow and watch it develop, and this pet would be like an otter. And also with different points, they could win different box prizes. We were able to implement this feature on the to-do list. However, we would have definitely liked to expand it further into the daily log and the homepage as well. Next, we would have added a preview of the user's current to-dos on the homepage, as well as currently the projects are on the homepage. We would have made a separate page for them as well to make our app more organized. To expand our app further, next we would have added more features to make it accessible for people with disabilities. For instance, for people with vision disabilities, we would have added an option for them to change the text size as well as increase the icon sizes. Finally, to improve the pipeline further, if we had more time, we would have liked to automate more of the repetitive tasks, such as adding more checks to the documentation using JS docs and linting, more checks to checking the code quality, as well as running more test suites.